Welcome to Fandom.
And Wellness.
A podcast about the complex relationship between fandom and mental health.
Disclaimer, we are not psychiatrists or psychologists. We are just fangirls with a vested interest in mental health. I'm Arkeida.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Danielle.
This episode, we will be talking about Stranger Things. Yay!
Yes!
Season 3, baby! Wait, actually, well...
We're talking about the whole thing. Yeah, so we're mainly going to focus on trauma and grief and how that affects the characters, especially Eleven, Will, and Joyce. But before we get into the heavier aspects of the series, let's discuss some of our favorite characters we've met over the past 3 seasons and their relationships with each other.
So, my favorite character, and I'm really glad that she got way more spotlight in this season, was Erica. Black girl nerd. Yes, she's a nerd. I hate, as much as she does not want to admit it, she is such a nerd, and you can't spell America without Erica. So that was so good. I was like, oh my god, this girl, who is she? I love her. Why was I not as confident as her as a child?
She's so smart.
She is really smart. And so, she's way too sassy. There are so many moments where she's just giving sass, and I'm like, this is how you die. You should just watch your mouth a little bit. But I did love her, and I love that we got more of her in the 3rd season, because I feel like the 1st season we got a glimpse of her. Same with the 2nd season. It's like we want to see more of this character, because there's really only one African-American or Black character within the series, and that's Lucas, and then you see his dad very rarely. So I think it's important that in this very white town in Indiana we see some more representation, because there are more than just white people in suburbs, you know.
Yeah,
right.
I love that she just would not believe that her brother had anything to do with saving the town.
No,
Lucas,
he did not.
What?
No.
She believed all his friends did, but she's like, no, I don't believe that.
That coward.
And I love that Dustin ends up gifting her D&D.
Yes.
And I just I love the relationship that the boys share. Will, Lucas, Mike, and Dustin over D&D, and how that kind of D&D's always been popular, but now it's kind of actually cool to play it.
Yes.
Right.
I played my first campaign last weekend. I have never played before, and I had lots of fun. It was a rough day. I was having a hard day that day to focus, but I think overall I enjoyed it, and I definitely would like to play it again.
Yeah, I've only played one campaign. It was with one of my favorite bands, Bella's Bartok, when we were on tour, and it's just it's so fun.
It is
Jenny,
fun.
Have you played it ever, Jenny?
No, but I want to.
Yeah,
well,
I'm also seeing a lot more women playing it now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just wondering if it has anything to do with Stranger Things, because I've just noticed more and more people playing it now.
I think it also has to do with probably real play podcasts.
Yes.
Right?
It's way more in
Role.
pop culture. Critical Role, or I don't know.
The Adventure Zone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to play it.
Yeah. Also, it seems like it's good for your mental health to play it.
It's the most creative kind of game that you can play, I feel like. I feel like people who play it or who have had a chance to play it are actually lucky, because they're able to develop, especially as kids, their kind of creative muscles, and their storytelling muscles.
Yes, you are, and I think that's very important to be able to do as kids or even as adults. And I will say that my first campaign I played was with a bunch of my friends, and it was all of us. It was all women, and then one dude who was the husband of one of them.
Of course.
That happens. We're like, yeah, sure, we'll let you play. It's really a girls' thing, but whatever. You can join us.
That's funny. Going back to Stranger Things, I feel like they split up a lot this season, or at least Dustin separated from them. And I feel the problem is that I feel like Will has always kind of been on his own. In all of the seasons, he's been kind of alone in his mind, and sometimes physically. There's not there's not the kind of like real these are boys, so there's not the real kind of support for each other that you might see in like a group of adult women, for example.
Yes, but even young women, they're not developed. They aren't conditioned to develop and be supportive the way that women are. So like, they don't know what to do. Right, like Will's obviously distressed for a lot of Stranger Things, and they don't really provide very good support. It's mostly his mother and his brother. Yeah.
We'll talk more about Will obviously later.
Yeah. Speaking of Joyce, though, I really enjoy her as a character as well. I love her frantic energy. It's great. It's very relatable. And like obviously we'll talk about. I keep wanting to go into like
I know
issues.
There's only 3 characters that we're going really in depth.
I know, right? Obviously, I love Steve. I love Steve and like Dustin's relationship, for example.
Steve has the best like turnaround comeback story.
He does.
Right. Well, I think he was always kind of like a pretty nice, good guy, but like he was kind of entrenched in high school, like
that high school clickiness.
Hierarchies and whatever. And then one day he's like, "Fuck y'all."
Yes,
like,
good for him.
Y'all suck.
Because not everyone realizes that or gets out of that.
Right.
So good for him on that own personal growth.
Also, Nancy does that too. She's like, I think she's kind of obsessed with the hierarchy of everything. And then she realizes it's not that important when her BFF dies, you know?
Aww.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I think it's really, really cool that Barb became like a fan favorite character. Even though she was like only in the series for like
one episode.
Was it literally one episode?
I wouldn't even count it. I think she was in like 2 or 3, but it was like the first episode you saw her and then she was snatched and then never again. And then it was like later on in the first season where they're like in the upside down and you see her.
Right.
That's it.
So like, I mean, like it was obviously very problematic that there was just like no concern for her character versus Will's character when she was taken.
Will's the main character.
I understand that Will's the main character and like the story revolved around Joyce and the boys and trying to find Will, but they basically just didn't. There's just no concern for Barb's character getting snatched until there was a huge social media outcry with like the Justice for Barb hashtag, and then they had to like in season 2 the writers, because of that hashtag, decided to give her give her character justice and find her body and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I think Will is the main character, but she's not no one. She is a character who's important, at least to the audience and also to like Nancy. And there's this pattern in media that I've seen that I fucking hate, where often there's violence against women and then there's no kind of justice, right? There's no justice for what happens to them.
There's no justice or resolution even. There's no like it's male writers being lazy and just being like, oh, well, like we're just focusing on this other male character.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that they, listen to the fans, but it's telling that it
wasn't
took
a thought
fan
for them.
outcry to totally affect their writing for the second season.
Yeah, and then in season 2, like, they basically pitted 11 against Max, right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
That was the worst part of season 2.
Yeah. It was like 2 girls, like, as, like, main characters. They have to be jealous of each other and hate each other.
I can tell that they want to they, like to adopt some of the tropes, for example, of the 80s or whatever, but, like, adopt the good ones, But luckily, they aren't actually friends now, and they have a lot of screen time together. I can't tell if they actually talk about. I think they do talk about things other than boys in season 3, but I can't remember.
I mean, they talk about some things with the Upside Down.
Right, exactly.
And obviously some things with Billy.
Yeah.
And I guess they talk a lot about the boys, but in a way so that they can avoid them, basically.
Max is definitely me as a girlfriend. I'm just like, dump his ass. Dump him.
I dump your ass.
So good.
I need that on a shirt.
Yeah, so that was really, the mall scene was really fun. That jumpsuit she gets, or his shirt, yeah, I think it was a jumpsuit.
Yes,
that she gets
it was.
Radical.
It was sold out everywhere. I tried to get it. I tried really hard.
It's so fucking 80s, but it's so good. Yeah. What else? Do you guys like Jonathan and Nancy?
No, I don't.
They were kind of boring this season.
They were boring this season, and there was, like, I get the point of their storyline, but so much of everything Nancy was doing was like, white feminism!
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, stop it. Stop it. It's not all about you.
It was a little bit like, yeah, feminism, but also use your fucking brain sometimes, you know?
Literally white feminism. And it's like, there's so much of it. It's like, you already come from a privileged background, etc., etc. And what was his name? Jonathan doesn't have that. He's not going to be able to, like, find a job wherever. Like, this is his life. Like,
yeah, like, he has to provide for his family because he doesn't have a father. Like,
right. He's only, like, 18 years old, so he's a kid, and he's like, I understand. I'm sure he tries to comprehend what she's going through, and they both have a struggle, but it's like, this is literally his life, and she's fucking it up.
Yeah, but it was, oh my god, was it frustrating to watch how she was being treated.
Yes.
By because, I mean, it's probably accurate.
Mm-hmm.
God, I hated them. They got their justice.
They
it's
did.
Fine.
They did. But I'm not to like belittle it, but it was very disheartening to watch the way that they belittle and berated her for like having thoughts. We all have thoughts. Like,
right, that's like my greatest fear, to be rejected and laughed at for trying to think outside the box or whatever, you know? Right? So it's like, oh great. So it does happen.
Yeah.
And it still does, but maybe people aren't as overt about it.
We have HR now.
Yeah.
HR doesn't do fucking shit.
What are you talking about? I don't even have HR.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yes.
Also, you should. You're in a fucking huge company.
Which we're not going to name.
I'm not, but I'm just saying. You should.
Speaking of working together, what about Steve and Robin?
Yes! The best! They are the best co-parents ever. That is entirely
I love that Steve is just like the father of 4 children.
More than 4 children. There's more than them.
There's so many children.
They even adopted Erica.
I view him as the father of the boys.
Yes.
I don't necessarily view him as 11 and Max's and Erica's father.
Yes.
Yeah, but he does take some care of Erica in this season, for example.
Take care of her or put her in
I'm sorry. Did I say take care?
Isn't that what parents do?
Or child endangerment.
Parents got child endangerment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He's not actually a great parent, but he does his best, I guess, considering the circumstances.
And isn't that what parenting is? Doing your best.
Oh, you're so right, Arkeida.
Thank you.
So do you like that they did not end up together?
Yes, I loved it.
Yes.
I was so happy. I was like, girl, it was nice. I thought it was really sweet, the bathroom scene. He's like, I have a crush on you. And she's just like, but I'm gay. Sorry.
She made it sound like she had a crush on him, which doesn't, like, I don't know why she did that. It was kind of like a weird, like,
it was a little misleading at first, and
right. She doesn't have to. Obviously, she was not comfortable.
Yeah, I guess
she was afraid.
I guess she was saying like she envied him.
Yes,
right. But like, why did she make it sound like they just wrote? They wrote it
drugs.
weird.
I don't know.
They were.
Yes, they wrote it. They purposely wrote it in a misleading way.
They did. And part of me thinks that it's the 80s it's the middle of nowhere in the middle of America. Like, not everyone is as accepting of that. And that was me trying to, like, just justify the way that they were wording it.
Yeah, it was... I like the representation. The way they presented it was kind of weird, but that's whatever.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So, like, my favorite part about all that, though, is that it's just, like, how healthy Steve's reaction was.
Right.
Because oftentimes, what's shown in media and what I've seen get normalized is, like, when someone is rejected, they take that as, like, a very personal thing and they get very angry.
Right.
So I liked seeing this, like, this example of, like, Steve not taking it personally at all and just very quickly getting over himself and just being there for his friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
And being like, okay, I'm not a woman, so, like, she can't like me.
You're right. Like, it's like, you know, it was never going to happen from the start. Like, you just...
Yeah, like...
And I also just really like Robin as a character because she's like, I think she's a unique character. She's like, she's just kind of silly, but she's also kind of exasperated with Steve, and she doesn't take his shit, and she's very smart. So she's just a fun character.
Out of all of the seasons of Stranger Things, Robin's character and Erica's characters are the two that I'm most related to. And I'm really glad that we got both of them in this season, because now I can watch this and be like, oh, they're like me.
Would you say? I would say this is my favorite season, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, season 1 was good, but this season I felt like was, the teams were really cool. Like the
team ups, yes.
Yeah, the team ups were really good. They
were unconventional. I loved it.
Like, yeah.
Dustin finally gets a little girlfriend.
Yes, Susie!
Oh my god!
You know,
I love that it was like a big question as to whether she was real the whole time. I knew I knew she was real because it was such a big question on whether she was or wasn't. And then they sing the never-ending story.
I've never actually seen that.
Well, you should, because it's amazing.
Okay.
And you'll be really happy, and then I'm excited for you to get to see it.
I just love that they're in this super fucking tense moment, and like they take a break to sing Never Ending Story, which is so funny.
Hopper looks like his brain's gonna fucking explode while that's happening.
This season was really funny.
Not to digress, all these characters are my favorite, but I shed a tear for Alexei. I did. I actually shed a lot of tears this season, but that one was like, no! He grew on me. He was so adorable and so sweet.
Yeah.
All he wanted was a cherry Slurpee. I wanted a cherry Slurpee after that. They do not taste the same.
Can we just talk about the intense product placement in this fucking show? They did a whole fucking Coca-Cola ad in the middle of an episode.
They did! I bought it!
Can you believe?
That
was so funny.
I went and bought it.
It was a full fucking, like, 3 minutes. They were talking about new Coca-Cola is better. No, old Coca-Cola is better. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is there a commercial in the middle? I thought Netflix didn't have fucking commercials. Oh my god, it was so funny. And then I'm pretty sure, and then like Burger King, and then 7-Eleven. Yeah. It was just really funny that there was all these super obvious product placements in the middle of the season.
It was the 80s. I mean, I wasn't around in the 80s, so I assume that's what the 80s were.
Oh
my god. Who else should we talk about? Hopper as the dad, who is like very bad at being a dad, honestly.
Arkeida's face is very disgruntled.
If my dad were acting like this, I would be like, you need if this were my father, I would never talk to my father like that.
That is what my parents acted like.
What? So. My dad was not like, also I didn't have voiceover. Like that was not even, they weren't even concerned with me and boys. They're like, she's too weird. That's not happening. Don't laugh at me. But
yeah. Oh god, it was so gross when Ellen and Mike were just making out for like an extended period of time. Like, can you stop showing this to me?
I I hated that because, like, did you watch the bonus scenes at the end of season 2?
No.
I don't think so.
So at the end of season 2, there's a bunch of like bonus scenes, and one of them is like they're interviewing the actors and actresses, and one of them they interview Millie Bobby Brown at the same time as what's the name of the Duffer brothers or whatever, the writers of the show.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the kiss scene during their little dance, and they're talking about how much Millie didn't want to do it, and it wasn't in her contract to have to do any kissing or anything like that. And they like waited until that like literally then and sprung it on her, and everyone else knew it was going to happen. And
what the fuck?
Yeah, and they made her like keep doing it. And she, like, didn't want to do it at all. And she was really upset about it. And really freaked out.
That's
and they're
so
like,
shitty.
And, like, they're, like, laughing about it. And they're like, oh.
That's
and I'm like, this is a child.
What the fuck is
like,
wrong with you? What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, so, like, it really rubbed me the wrong way. I was really bothered by that. And then, like, just, like, the media in general sexualizing her. Like, she's been on the cover of like magazines as like sexiest woman, and she's like,
seriously?
Oh no,
she's like a teenager.
I think she might be 15.
Barely.
I think she might be 15 now.
But not back then.
Not
too.
then.
Back then, she was
when
like,
she was like 13. She was on the cover of magazines for this title, and it's like she's a child. She's not a woman.
And like, what's his face? Drake wants to be her BFF.
R. Kelly much? R. Kelly much? Like, not okay, Drake. Not okay.
She's literally 15 years old right now.
It's just real. It's not okay, and it's like
real gross. Yeah,
it's very telling that this is made by men.
Yes, and there's no reason to have like forced her to be kissing him before she was ready. When Lucas and Max have. I don't think there's even one scene of them kissing.
In this season, I don't think I've seen one. No.
So Lucas and Max have been dating for technically just as long, because 11 and Mike didn't start dating until that like prom dance thing as well.
Right.
So like they've never shown them kissing, and obviously, I mean, I'm saying obviously, like this is something that's pointed out a lot on the Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood podcast, but usually like if there is a black male actor with a white woman, you never see them kiss or do anything sexual.
Really?
Like when you think about movies and stuff, like it's very hard to come up with an example.
Well, I'm trying to think of
too.
examples at all, like of black men with white women.
That's so strange. I don't watch, well, first of all, I don't really watch that many movies to start with, so, like, I can't.
It's not strange. It's not strange, it's racist.
Yes, it is.
The strangest things are racism.
Racist things.
Is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, I mean, I think we named all of our favorite characters. Do you like Billy at all?
No. He has no redemption. I don't care.
I have on our show notes Billy and the Women of Hawkins versus Billy being a bully.
I mean, obviously, he's a hottie. Like,
I didn't think he was hot in this show, and then I saw pictures of him, and I was like, Billy? Billy?
What are you doing,
Billy?
What are you doing?
Billy?
Also, a name like Billy just already turns me off.
Yeah,
like,
it's very, very white. But I think he's hot, but I think he's very typically like abuser type hot.
Yeah, he's
yes, he's
you know
abuser
what I mean?
type hot.
Like he's a scumbag.
Yeah, in the end, he does like sacrifice himself to save Elle, which is great, I guess. But like, I kind of wish. Like, I just can't tell what they want us to feel about him, because I don't feel good about him. So, like, and I wonder whether they wanted to redeem him, because if they wanted to redeem him, they should have shown him doing more redeemable things, other than just the saving Elle in the end.
Yeah, so, okay, so at this point we're gonna switch to finally talking about, like, the, like, trauma and grief and everything. Do we want to actually start with Billy?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's start with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like they're trying to redeem him, but they're not. But he's not really doing redeemable things,
Right.
and like there's this tendency in media to have to give anyone who is abusive like a backstory on why they're abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So like it shows him like, you know, like his mother abandoned their family after like being abused by the father, and like he like witnesses the father like hitting the mother, and he's been abused by the father. It's like just because you were abused, it doesn't give you an excuse to then abuse other people.
Right. There's like two things I'm thinking about, because obviously it's realistic because people there is an abuse cycle in which people who are abused do abuse other people. But there's also there are also people who are abused and they stop the cycle.
Yes.
So it doesn't justify what he does, but it explains it a little more. I
think we said this in our Patreon episode about like the trailer for the season.
Yeah.
That we like we didn't want Billy to have a redemption story.
No. And at the end of the day, I think we didn't want it because sometimes people are just shitty. There is no excuse. Right. You don't need an excuse to be a shitty person. Like,
I think everyone has their own stuff.
Yes.
You know, everyone has their own versions of trauma, but it doesn't excuse the behavior.
Right.
It's not a justification that he is this way because his father is that way. Because, I mean, when you look at it, even though Jonathan and Will's father is not around, he was also abusive and kind of seemed like an alcoholic as well. And they're the furthest things from that.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else to say about Billy?
No.
Okay.
I do feel for his character. I'm very sorry that I think in that scene I felt more upset that Max was losing a brother because I kind of, not to say relate to that, but like, it is still family and you do still care about your family.
It's also to my understanding that Max wasn't beaten by the father because Billy was.
Right.
Like, I think Billy took on the beating.
I did see that. And like, I feel like Billy, even though he wasn't like the best brother, he was slightly protective of Max.
I think.
Kind of.
I don't even know, but I think he at least took the beatings for her. That's all I...
Yeah.
That's all
it was like a bad kind of protective.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Will.
Well...
Poor baby Will.
So I think we should give a little explanation of PTSD for any of our listeners who don't necessarily know or understand what it is or kind of how it works within your brain. I mean, I still don't understand how it works in my brain, and I've gone through enough trauma counseling. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, which it's a condition of persistent mental and emotional stress recurring as a result of injury or severe psychological shock, typically involving disturbance of sleep, constant vivid recall of the experience, with dulled responses to others and the outside world.
Yeah, and this almost seems like a kind of very specific definition of PTSD.
It is.
But these are some of the
things that can cause and symptoms of it. I feel like PTSD, the diagnosis of it has kind of broadened. It's no longer something like... It's no longer as a result of injury or shock. It can be like prolonged exposure to like abusive behavior that can also cause PTSD.
Right.
It's a lot, and there are a lot of things that if you're exposed to it long enough, or for even so many amount of times, you can develop this, and it's.
And I'm thinking about the history a little bit because it used to be called shell shock, right?
Oh.
Yeah, for vets.
And then that evolved to post-traumatic stress disorder and to encompass other situations that involve war.
Right.
Because sometimes people live in situations that are continuously stressful and can cause PTSD.
Yes.
Right? But yeah, that's what PTSD is. And obviously Will has it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So Will was literally trapped in a different... It's a different dimension, right?
Yeah.
Basically, yes. So he's like trapped in a different dimension for one season, and then the next season he has like a mind flayer inside of him.
Yes.
So he just like he just constantly has traumatic things happening to him.
He does. And then in this third season, it was like this was the season that he needed the support and didn't get it. So it's like it continues. He's not healing from anything, which is
I'm also thinking that he's not really like post it yet, right? Because he's still experiencing this. He's still in that kind of
he's
environment where he's experiencing trauma, and he's not quite out of that situation yet.
Yeah, so when he originally has like the mind flayer, Joyce like brings him to the doctor, and they're thinking that he has PTSD, and then it's like because it's like becoming stronger on the anniversary of when he was taken and brought into the Upside Down, which makes sense because like with PTSD, a lot of times it is stronger around the anniversary of whatever the event was,
right?
Yeah.
But then it turns out he has a mind flayer in him. So it's like, does he have PTSD or does he just have a mind flayer?
I feel like, in my head, I feel like they both came into play because, yes, it is close to the time. And speaking from experience, I do tend to go through stronger periods and waves of depression during the time when I had my accident. So, like I understood what the doctor was saying, but yes, it definitely was in part due to a mind flare inhabiting in his body.
In the context,
same.
In the context of fiction, it was the mind flare, but in the context of an analogy for PTSD,
yes,
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, I mean, like, even in this season, he's having, like, flashbacks and, like, premonitions, like, the back of his neck is, like, tingling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, kind of, like, bringing him back to another world.
And those are all kind of signs of PTSD. And I remember when, for those listeners who don't know, I survived a bombing attack 3 years ago in New York City. And one of the things that my therapist told me is that after that, your flight or fight instinct kind of goes completely out of whack because you no longer know how to react to certain situations. And for me, it was my flight instinct that was just like super heightened. So like, it's like not to say anything triggered it for me, for him, but like he can tell when it's near, and that's like his trigger. It's like, oh, this is happening. This is what's near. And for me, it was like any loud sound that I heard, like I would already be like halfway down the block, like running away.
Yeah, and can I just say how much I hate the way the word triggered is used in like social media and
yes,
like it's the worst because people are actually triggered. People joke about that.
No. I don't find it funny in the slightest. Like, I have mine, I'm still very sensitive to sound and a lot of things, but it's like, when I try to explain to people, this is a trigger for me, I don't like to be in this situation, they're like, oh, it's nothing, or you're being sensitive, or like, I'm like, no, these are actual things that people experience that, like, it would be be a decent human and just don't do it, or don't put people in these situations. It's not like, be a good person, like, just be decent. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah, and, like, there's been a lot of, like, pushback against quote-unquote trigger warnings because people are like, what do? You enter every movie scared that there'll be something in it? Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you do.
Well, no, yes and no. So, not to digress from this situation, but we all love superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
I am super sensitive to sound and explosions. Like, seeing it, hearing it does trigger me. And I still go to Marvel movies. And I love don't get me, I love all superhero movies, and I still watch it, and seeing it and hearing it still bothers me. So I try to go with somebody, or, oh my god, I'm gonna start crying.
Aww.
It's really hard.
Oh no, baby.
I like doing these things, but it's hard. And like,
I know.
Nothing is gonna stop me from being able to live this life, but at the same time, it's that flight or fight instinct that I have. That's like, okay, this is a movie. It's not real, and I'm in a safe place.
You don't avoid them because you want to see them, right? But it's good to be educated about what's going to be in a movie, right? And to have that knowledge is the best thing you can have. And that's what trigger warnings are about.
Yeah, it's also to help people know if they want to see it or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love you, Arkeida.
Arkeida, drink some water. That's what... I literally always carry water on me because it helps me to not cry.
Yeah. It's this is exactly why we have trigger warnings. This is exactly why.
Yeah, it's, I mean, like, I have seen some debate on it from, like, actual therapists that, I'm trying to remember exactly what they've said the reason to not have them is. It's basically just, like, I guess, like, it doesn't actually help your mental state to be avoiding these things.
Maybe you shouldn't avoid it, but it should be your choice, one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't avoid it. They just want to know what they're getting into.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's, like, the other argument that I've heard, that, like, people are gonna read it anyway. But, like, I know that, like, for myself, like there are certain things that, like, I will read and it just, like, wrecks me for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, but you want to choose when if you want to read it, then you want to choose a good moment to read it. Right?
Yeah, no, I understand the purpose of trigger warnings.
Yes.
I'm just saying that I've heard
I'm sure there
from
are
therapists
reasons
about why they don't believe in them.
Yes, but I mean, for Will, like, it's really difficult to pinpoint what his are, just because, like, there's so much happening within every single episode, and it's like he's not, like you said, he's not out of that environment where he does get the chance to heal. It's not until like at the end of the season where it's like, okay, he's finally leaving. It's sad that he's leaving his town, and a lot of them are his support system, whether or not they were, like, good at it.
Yeah.
But it does feel as though this is finally his now chance to heal, and I just, like, part of me wants to see what the healing process is for him, because I don't watch a lot of anything within pop culture that shows PTSD and how you heal from it, and that, like, is something I would love to see.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a great idea for them to move.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Get out of there.
Yes.
Jesus.
As someone who moved because their anxiety was so extreme when they were living, and now their anxiety is not quite as bad.
Yeah.
I highly support Joyce's decision to move her and her children out of the town where her child was kidnapped and 2 of her lovers were killed. And
oh God.
just horrible things just keep happening.
Well, yeah.
But Will is just like, I mean, yeah, so like some of the symptoms of PTSD are like that like kind of just like far off look that Will gets when he's like in the middle of an episode. And like your friends are kind of like talking at you and you're just like not there because you're mentally somewhere else. And it does seem like his friends are concerned when he's like that, but they definitely don't fully understand. Like they think that they understand, but they don't fully understand. And they seem sometimes like they're trying to like rush his healing because they want him to be like where they are.
Right.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how like in this season he really wants everything to stay the same because he kind of missed out on a lot of his childhood being in the Upside Down. Yes. And he missed out on their like friendship and bonding, a lot of it. Right? Yeah. So he wants to continue playing D&D, you know?
He does. And I was really upset that nobody wanted to freaking play with him. It's like, he's honestly he was gone for all of season 1. Season 2, you guys barely got to do anything together because it was trying to get the mind flayer out of him and like save the town. And now season 3, he's literally right here at the table in the campaign with you guys and nobody... And I get it. They all kind of bonded while he was gone and have new relationships and are dating. Yeah. But that's your friend.
Yeah, and like I've seen like a lot of pieces on how Will is asexual.
Okay.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Because you don't usually see ace representation in media.
You very rarely do.
And so it's like, for him, he's just like, I don't understand why you're so focused. Yeah. Because he's just like not there. Like he doesn't have like these strong desires to like go make out with someone.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's totally okay to feel these things. Like, he does it. Like, this isn't what he wants to do. And I feel as though everyone in the group has somebody, because they're like all dating someone. So it's really just him left alone. And it's just like, I get it. It's okay to be with the person that you're dating and enjoy that time together. And part of me kind of excused it because they were young. They don't really know any better and they're not adults. But even adults do this. But it's like, you can still be friends with somebody and have a partner at the same time. And like, I don't even know, like, Lucas has been dumped so many times. I'm just like, what? Why aren't you hanging out with your friends, Lucas? Like, Max is tired of your shit.
Max is the fucking best.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
so
and
funny.
like, you know, like there's a scene where Will like makes where Mike makes Will feel bad about like not being in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like that's definitely like a way that I guess like romantic people like treat ace people like
right.
as if it's like a completely fucking weird thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, and I know some people think Will is gay, but Ace is also very possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any like reason to.
I haven't seen any reason to think he's gay, but I see reason to think he is ace.
I think it's just because of the emphasis on like girls, you know, that everyone. I think that people just want him to be whatever they want him to be.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Right.
He's not a specific thing, so people want representation.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel that too. People are starved for representation. I feel that.
They are. I honestly really hope that in this new town, Will gets some trauma counseling, because he and Joyce and Jonathan and Elle all need it.
Yep.
They all need it and can stand to kind of use it, because
I mean, I think that's the first thing Joyce is going to do. She's going to be like...
She's smart.
Family counseling, individual counseling.
Yes.
When she starts dating again, she's going to be like couples counseling. She's going to...
Marriage counseling.
You get therapy and you get therapy.
Oh
yeah, God. She's the Oprah of therapy. She's gonna...
But obviously the difficulty is that the things they've gone through is like no one else has gone through, and it's... Can they tell people about that, you know?
It's not like they signed a non-disclosure.
So, obviously it's different because this is otherworldly, but I remember, like, when I started therapy, I was like, no one has my same experiences, like, the therapist isn't gonna understand.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I think a lot of people going into therapy kind of feel that way anyway.
Right.
I understand that their experiences actually are different than anyone else's in the world, 100%.
Yeah.
But I think that because a lot of people feel that way anyway going into therapy, maybe it doesn't really matter. Because like a therapist's job isn't necessarily to believe you, it's just to help you.
I was seeing them getting therapy as... Did anyone watch The Sopranos? I barely watched it. But there's this guy, and he's going to therapy, and he's essentially talking about his job in the mafia. I use air quotes because I don't even think this is real. I don't think this is an actual representation of what it is. And he's describing it like he's a garbage man. And it's like, I do this in my daily job. Blah, blah. Right. And I'm like, are they going to do something like that? Either way, I'm just hoping they get this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm pretty certain that she's killed people. So you can't really say that.
Well, let's talk about Joyce a little more, actually.
Okay. Shout out to Winona Ryder for that bomb-ass comeback. I have been waiting for some Winona Ryder shit for years, and I'm like, oh my god. I love
Yeah,
her.
she fucking killed this role.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she fucking killed it. It was, I don't know, torturous to watch her basically being, like, gaslit into, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what word, like, I don't want to say, like, believing, because she just, like, never believed it, like, that her son was dead. Like,
Right.
everyone was, like, just, like, your son is dead. Like, this is what it, like, your son is dead. And she's like, no, he's fucking not. No, he's 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 not. And then she was fucking right.
Yes. I think the maddening piece for her was that everyone else believed it, and she was the only one
Yeah.
that was convinced. And so in a way, it makes her feel manic, because it's like, why am I the only one that knows this truth and nobody else is getting it?
And I'm sure she did question her sanity at points.
Yeah.
Because if you're literally the only one who believes something, you're like, is it me or is it the world that's wrong? Right? And that's like what being a woman is like sometimes.
Oh my god, yes.
I think any person who experiences something as a woman, as a POC, whatever, and is told that they are not actually experiencing it, is difficult,
Or
right?
it's just in your head. It's not real. This isn't actually happening. Are you just making this up? Like, it...
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any proof?
Oh, proof. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, all the words that we have all heard.
Oh, God.
No, yeah, that is... Yes.
But vindication!
Yes.
It's obvious, though, that even throughout the third season, she still feels like people think she's crazy.
Of course.
Like when she's
Yeah.
talking about the magnets and everything.
Yeah.
Shout out ICP. The magnets.
The memes that came out of the magnet.
I don't listen to ICP.
Oh my god. Magnets.
I don't know what that is.
The Insane Clown Posse.
Oh.
They have...
Oh, the
put out
Juggalos?
Yeah, they had like a video, I think, a song called like Miracles, but in it they're like, magnets, like how do they work?
Oh my god, that's so good.
That's like what I was thinking about while watching this season. I was like, this is so fucking funny.
I definitely think I've seen those, yeah. I just didn't know it was an ICP thing. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously she's lost a lot. She lost Bobby Newport. Nope. Bobby Newbie.
Oh. Sam?
Yeah. That was devastating.
That was.
She literally has PTSD from that.
She does.
She goes back to the place where it happened. She gets triggered and she has a flashback.
Yeah, she's just kind of stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, I feel like, the reason, like, she's moving from this place because the entire town is essentially, like, a trigger for her, because the entire town is like, something's bad happened on pretty much every corner of this freaking town.
Yeah, so, like, the best description I ever heard of PTSD is basically, like, it's not something that happened to someone, it's something that is currently happening to them. Like, you're currently living in that world.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and she can't move forward with relationships because of that loss, right? With Hopper.
Yeah.
And when she tries to, he also fucking dies.
Yeah, Joyce has got some fucking luck, man. First, the father of her children is a total scumbag. And then, Bob is a pure little angel baby saint.
Yeah.
Bob was wonderful.
Like, dies.
Yep.
Hopper is an alcoholic shit show who also dies. I do love Hopper, but he is what he is, you know.
He has some problems, yes.
I will say, some people are gonna not agree with me on this. Hopper caused his own death. He needs to control his anger. He needed to control that. And
well, to be fair, he didn't know he was gonna get stuck out there.
No. But what did you
He did have intense anger problems.
He did know they had to close the portal, and that if you were out there when the portal closed, you would die.
Right, but there was literally something preventing him from going
that he
back
caused.
in, right? I mean, he was fighting someone else. He wasn't gonna pull his punches.
Like Arkeida's like, Joyce deserves better. Fuck Hopper.
Don't get me wrong. I think Daniel is a daddy, but
Oh my god.
he caused that himself.
I'm gonna go on the other side and say he did not cause his own death.
It's okay. You're entitled to that belief.
And just like you're entitled to your belief.
Well, you know what he did do, though? He did at least make sure 11 didn't die because he wouldn't let her go down there. He offered to close the gate so she wouldn't have to.
Right.
Yes.
That was a dad move. A good dad move.
He always showed that he cared about 11. He didn't treat Mike that well.
No.
But Mike's a little bitch anyway, so...
It was definitely some, like, 1940s style, like,
parenting.
I'm gonna meet your boyfriend with a shotgun to make sure he's, like, in line type of parenting.
People still do that, which is weird.
I don't understand. Sometimes I'm just like, are the straights okay? You know, like, are y'all okay over there? Like, what are you doing?
What else? Joyce. And then, she takes in 11 after Hopper's death, which, like, I was wondering, like, I was like, after Hopper died, I'm like, she's the only one who can, really.
Yeah. I thought it was weird. So, like, I understand that Will's her kid, so, like, she hugged Will when she came back up. Because it's like, oh, like, I love my kid, I want to hug my kid. But 11 just lost her father.
I know, I'm like, are you gonna go hug her too or no?
Just like, huh? Like, she's who they should have hugged, in my opinion.
I think she should have just gone over and hugged her after, at least, right?
Yeah, like, if you want to hug Will real fast, like, she should have hugged Will real fast and then been like, I need to go talk to 11. Like, I just need...
Yeah,
like,
let me just convey through my face that her dad is fucking dead. Like...
Yeah, like... Like, this child has never had support in her entire life and needs some support. Like,
goodbye.
She's gonna literally cave into herself.
Oh, poor baby.
And like the face she made when she was looking for him.
Yeah, she's so good at acting. Jesus.
Millie Bobby is like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically Joyce was the only one who could take in 11 at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
I don't think any of the parents know about her.
Right.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't think they do.
But with the way these fucking parents are, I'm like, she could live in their any of their houses and they would not realize, I feel like. Because they're so fucking oblivious sometimes. Right?
I don't even understand how. Like...
Yeah, also, like, 11 needs to get out of that town. And
she does.
It's kind of... I mean, like, I guess, like, for Joyce, maybe it's also, like, having, like, a little piece of Hopper.
Yeah.
I also saw it as she couldn't let, like... 11 is someone that you wouldn't want in the wrong hands, because I'm certain that there is still some kind of, like, government agency or whatever that could possibly still be looking for her, and it's like, can't leave her out.
Speaking of 11, like, let's talk about her PTSD, too.
Yes.
Because, like, in her entire life, she's been imprisoned and controlled and basically tortured.
I wanted to say one more thing about Joyce before 11. Basically, like, the fear of, like, the loss of a child is, like, a form of trauma in itself.
Yes.
Right.
Obviously, none of us have children, but, like, any of my friends who have kids, like, if their child, like, steps the wrong way on the sidewalk, it's, like, the end of their day. Because they're so, like, overprotective and freaked out. Like, her child literally gets kidnapped, and she thinks he's dead. And so it's just, like, the fear that she's going through for so long, and then once she gets him back, she has to constantly be afraid it might happen again.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have children, but I do listen to a lot of, like, podcasts about missing children, for example. And... Can you imagine the stress of a parent not knowing where their child is?
You don't get over it.
Yeah, and sometimes you never find out, right?
Yes.
Which sucks. Anyway, 11.
11.
Yeah, so like I said, she was experimented on and tortured her entire life, and thank God she like got out of it.
Yes.
But she has obviously like a lot of trauma related to that, her history, her powers in general, when she has to enter that black space, for example.
Yeah, the void.
Like, I'm sure, the void, I'm sure that is not like super healthy for her, but she's so strong
literally
that
bleeding
she's like,
from the nose.
yeah, but she's like such a strong person that she's like, she knows if she needs to do it, she needs to do it, right?
Yeah, I like that, you know, like in the earlier seasons when we saw her going into the void, she had to be like in a like sensory deprivation tank to do it, and she's definitely like, I think, more scared to do it. Like, it seemed to be like a little bit more like of a fearful place for her, but like now it seems to be something she does competently.
Yes.
And she's like, no, I'm fine when I'm in here. Which is why she was so taken back that Billy was able to grab her. Like, she was just, like, her and Max were, like, playing a game where she would just go into the void.
Right,
and, like,
yeah.
And, like,
that's
you
true.
know, like, look at people. So, like, it's interesting to see, like, that character development, like, her, like having agency over her powers.
Yes.
Yeah, that is good.
Yes, and I will say that something that happens a lot, or I will say at least with me, with PTSD, is, like, loss of bodily autonomy. Like, you no longer feel in control of your thoughts or like what your body is doing, because when it's happened and like shortly after, like I said, you are in that fight or flight mode, and it's like you don't know what's going to happen or what you should be doing. And for her, it's like she was forced to be in this fight mode when she had to go into the void, and now she can willingly go in and know what to expect. So I think that's kind of like, that shows her growth, and she like knows what to expect, and she knows that it's okay. Not to say it's not real, because for me it's not real, but like for her it's like, I know what is going to happen and I can have control over this situation, which I think is important for anyone experiencing any trauma to know that, or to find places where you do have control of the situation, so that way you're not like...
Yeah. And when she was being like experimented on by Brenner, like he was like trying to force her to like, I think I like hurt a cat or something like that, like with her telekinesis, and she wouldn't do it, so she was put into solitary confinement. So I think it's very different for her being able to do what she wants with her powers, versus like being punished based on how she is or is not using them.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, and she's like, she doesn't form any real relationships other than with Brenner. Is the only relationship she really has, which is a very, very bad relationship. And it was good to see her get out of there and form real relationships with other people her age, as well as a not perfect father figure, but a better father figure.
Yeah, I mean, she's basically, like, once she's out, she basically is going through, like, childhood and teenager, like, all at once.
Right. Oof. Intense.
Because she's never had relationships of any kind.
Right.
Season 2 was all about jealousy between Max and Elle.
Yeah.
So dumb. Women can be friends. Girls can be friends. But I was really happy that in this season they kind of got together and like had fun, because there was a scene where like Max is with 11 at her place and Hopper comes in and she's like 3 inches and he's like, oh, it's you two. And I think that's important. And in my mind, I'm like, did Hopper never once think to ask her to invite Max over? Like, hang out with somebody else that's not Mike.
Right.
Like, to say, hey, why don't you have a sleepover? Hey, like, in my head, it's like, he's never, like, he's had a daughter, but because she passed away so young, he's never, like, had to experience these things. Raising a child or raising a daughter, so he doesn't understand that they need these experiences with some.
I think he didn't even know that she had a girlfriend. She only has
Mike.
Male friends, yeah.
But they were together. Like, has he not seen them together in town? He's the sheriff. He's supposed to be in town.
No, I don't think he has, because she's not really allowed to go out.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Shoot. Where does she get schooling, then? Is she being homeschooled?
I don't think she gets schooling.
Yeah.
Hopper's certainly not homeschooling her. Yeah, I think that he's just like hiding her there until he could get permission to have her exist.
I have questions about her education status.
Yeah. We all should. He needs to get a home tutor up in there.
He really does. Well, let's hope that in this new town she can go to school.
Yeah, I hope so.
She'll be able to. They won't know who the fuck she is.
No.
But do you want to talk about her mother?
I don't remember much of it.
She meets her mother, who's like in a catatonic state because she was experimented on with like the MKUltra experiments.
Right. And for people who don't know what MKUltra is, like Arkeida.
Hey. Hey.
Damn,
called you out, bitch.
Hey, I know what the Tuskegee experiment is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know, too.
Yes. I know that our government is real fucked up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's when the CIA and the Department of Defense conducted experiments on Americans to find out how drugs like LSD would affect them. I think it was like a way to try and figure out mind control.
It was extra fucked up because a lot of the people that they did these experiments on were not aware that they were being experimented on.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like I'm sorry, I don't understand this.
They basically gave drugs to a bunch of people.
Like how they have those join this test subject thing, right? Or no?
No.
No.
How were the drugs administered?
Yes.
I don't remember.
That I'm not totally sure because so almost all the documents were ordered to be destroyed in 1973. So there's like very little information on the experiments at all, other than like some of the patients' names were released, and it became obvious that a lot of the patients were not aware and did not sign up for this.
Right.
And that it obviously didn't work.
Yeah.
And that it had like very negative side effects.
Yes.
Like, it could cause like paralysis of the legs, acute anemia, blisters. It made people act like as if they were drunk. It slowed down or sped up maturity. It did all these different things to the point of like some people being catatonic, some people committed suicide because they were, were like on LSD and didn't know.
Yes, so I'm looking at it and it says, I'm trying to get some research. It says that the tests were conducted in universities, hospitals, or prisons. So yes, they were unwillingly tested on.
Which is, yeah, isn't this the craziest thing ever? Like, can you believe, I can't believe it happened, but like, insane.
No, I can honestly believe it. Like, they don't teach the things that American government has done to its people over the last couple hundred years. Like, I had to learn about the Tuskegee experiment, like, on my own way after college, and I'm like...
And just in case people don't know, what is that?
So, I think it was through the CDC. They administered the syphilis disease to an African-American neighborhood, and then... So what it was they were trying to see how quickly syphilis could spread within the African-American neighborhood. So they administered the disease, and then people were coming in to get treated, and they were not treating them and just giving them placebo pills, or also telling them they did not have this, like, they are fine. So like...
Oh my god.
So it's essentially killing a population.
Yeah.
Or, like... giving them this disease and telling them that they're fine. This isn't happening. Basically gaslighting and then not treating. You're not allowed to do as a doctor.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of things you're not allowed to do as a doctor that doctors do.
Yeah.
But like with this, they did do it to people of all like different like socioeconomic statuses.
Right.
Right. So yeah, Eleven's mother was part of that.
And so basically, yeah, so Eleven's mother was pregnant while she was going through these experiments. and the doctors didn't know. And then 11 was born, I guess, with powers.
Right.
I think that's the theory behind Stranger
Yeah.
Things. But yeah, she meets her mother, and I mean, I don't even know if she has like the emotional capacity to really like process that.
Right.
And I know that she blames herself for the gate being opened originally because Brenner made her open the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that like she's like the only one who can close the gate. But I also like feel like maybe she thinks it's like a form of punishment that she has to be the one to close the gate.
Well, yeah, I'm sure she feels a responsibility too. Like, now that she doesn't have her powers anymore, I wonder...
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a sense of
Relief?
fear.
Oh.
What?
Oh, I was going to say relief?
Yeah.
No, I think she likes her powers.
Yeah, she does like her powers. She seems pretty frustrated that she couldn't get them to work.
Like, she can't I think she's gotten so used to being able to protect people, actually, that now that she can't, it's going to be a problem for her.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes.
In her mind, her powers is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know who she is without them.
Right.
I think Max was really great for her because she was kind of helping her be like, you are your own person. Like, you're not just like Mike's girlfriend or Hopper's daughter
Right.
or like Brenner's experiments. Like, you are 11 or Jane or whoever. But
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And of course, losing her father figure was very traumatizing and sucks so much.
also that letter, man. Do you ever get into those?
Oh gosh!
Do you ever get into those situations where you're like, all right, this is what I'm gonna say. It's gonna go perfectly. Like, we're all gonna bond afterwards, and then you go and like, because you can't control what the other person is going to do, so it like just turns into a big shit show, and you're like, well, that wasn't how that was supposed to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've been there so many times where I go in with good intentions and I end up like,
because it's awkward to just read off a letter, like, you know. Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah,
He tried.
Poor Hopper. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say about 11 specifically?
I don't think so.
Okay, have you heard the theory that the Upside Down is a metaphor for depression?
I have not, but it
no.
makes sense. I could see that happen.
But it makes sense, yeah.
Why do you think it makes sense?
Because it's depressing.
Well, for one, it's affected so many people within this series. It also kind of represents this dark moment or place in time for so many people, so I can get why people consider that as a metaphor for depression.
Yeah, and also like a lot of the people who have been there once they're like out, like Dart, is that the little creature?
Dart, yes.
Yeah.
And Will like they act out against people that they love, and like it takes like Will's like whole family and support system to be able to like get like the depression or like the mind flayer or whatever out of him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like he keeps going back to that should I stay or should I go?
Right.
Which like a lot of times like if you're in a depressive state, like, or the theory is that like if you're in a depressive state, like you go back to things that calm you and you kind of like repeat them. Yeah, also it's like the Upside Down is like a very isolating place, and people with depression, I mean, sorry for generalizing by being like people with depression. When I had depression, I definitely isolated myself.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you want to say about this series and trauma?
I don't think so.
I want it to be done. I don't want another season. I can't handle anymore.
At the end of season 2, I was like, I want season 3 to just be them like living out their teenage life, having fun, like Wonder Years style.
Yes.
That's my ideal season 3. Like no insanity.
But then we had season 3.
Yeah. So that's if they do season 4, I just want it to be like...
It was an open book, but they were in fucking Russia, so maybe it stays there. There were so many, oh my god. There were a bunch of conspiracy theories about this season being like a troll for the current president. So many interceptions from Russia, and I was like, y'all are thinking too hard. It's not that deep. But it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, the Russians have just been a problem for the US before, and they continue to be. That's just it.
What the fuck's his name?
Who?
Oh, Brett Gelman.
Who's that?
The like conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
He's so good, and I'm glad they brought him back for season 3.
Oh, yeah. Was that the science teacher?
No,
but I also love the science
conspiracy.
teacher.
Alexi's BFF.
Yeah.
Oh my god, fucking Hopper with his jealousy. Any male that Joyce talked to, he's like, oh, you're like,
oh god,
dating them.
He's got problems.
Man, Hopper is a fucking kind of a messed up cop, man. He really handles.
He really is. Oh man.
I mean, yeah, he's always beaten on evil people, so I guess I don't really care that much, but he handles his problems with physical violence.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, he's like, I need answers, I'm going to beat the shit out of this person, and it's like, you are a cop. You probably shouldn't do that.
It's a small town. Who's gonna tell him not to do that?
I don't know, man.
Not the mayor, let's just say that.
The mayor! Whew, what the hell was that about? So, concluding this, thanks so much for listening. If you would like to find out more about PTSD or find resources related to treating PTSD, we recommend that you visit ptsdalliance.org or NAMI.org. NAMI.org.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to treat PTSD. Obviously, just go to therapy.
That too.
That's a good one.
Or like seek out someone that is specialized in trauma counseling, because they kind of teach you how to get past that.
Mm-hmm.
I've also read that like EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, is really cool. Oh, it's like do you know what that is or no?
I think I've done it, but I don't think my therapist ever like told me that's what I was doing.
This therapy uses measured exposure to traumatic memories with alternating stimuli in structured sessions with a healthcare professional certified to perform EMDR.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, that's pretty cool. Please take a moment to subscribe, review, and rate us, which you can now do on Apple Podcasts and also our Facebook page. It's the easiest way to help support our podcast.
Let us know what your favorite thing about our podcast is. Just name one thing.
Or just chat with us.
Yeah.
If you want to chat with us about this episode or any episode or just, how you're feeling. Our social medias are Fandom and Wellness on Instagram.
Fandom and Wellness on Facebook.
And Fandom Wellness on Twitter. You can also find me at The Chic Geek NYC on Instagram.
And you can find me at The Box of Shadows on Instagram.
And you can find me at Little Petal on Instagram.
And if you want bonus content, you can join our fandom family at patreon.com/fandomandwellness for Patreon exclusive geek sessions.
And remember, be kind and take no shit.
Hell yes. Yay!